So I have been working at my workplace for about 5 years and was recently given a major promotion. It was uncommon for someone to be promoted this quickly at this position, but I had been working my ass off for this and finally got it, and I'm extremely glad. I have another colleague who is 34M, I am 30F, and he is notorious for submitting work late, not prepping for his meetings, and is often rude to all the employees working below him like the secretary and janitor. I had never really talked to him except exchanging pleasantries and had only seen him in the office. Well, lo and behold, I find out through a work text chain that he wanted the same promotion as me and had applied every year but kept getting rejected. He said that every year, because the position had been filled by a man, I was only given the position because the company had started an inclusion program and I was a lesbian and woman, hence I didn't deserve the role cause never worked for it and it was just handed to me. Made me laugh really. I didn't really respond because I couldn't care less of what he had to say, but when I got back at the office he had made a group of other men from the office who didn't want me at the position because they also thought I had an unfair advantage. I think they all applied for the position too, but not really sure. They had scheduled a meeting with the president and the committee which I was a part of, but didn't attend because I had back-to-back meetings all day online. The meeting failed obviously cause they had zero proof for their claims and I had 4 years worth of recorded proof. This led to the one man who stared at to consistently come to my office to pester me and ask me to quit or at least support and get a promotion. Lol, he really had the balls to say that though. Because I was born with a hearing problem and had to wear hearing aids, whenever he approached me I would just take them off and continue what I was doing. I did this again a few days ago and he fucking took them and smashed them right there, and when he was stepping on them I just took a video and remained calm. I was honestly so pissed because it could take up to a week to get new ones and not hearing correctly really sucks. I had sent the video and a long email to HR before the day end, and the next day he calls me crying saying he could be fired for this and that he had 2 little kids and they might become homeless because of this. He has been consistently sending me videos of his kids and it's starting to make me feel a bit guilty cause they are the innocent ones, and if he gets fired and the family loses its income they are the ones who will suffer the most. My wife says that he made his bed and what would happen would only be his fault, but I have been getting messages from other colleagues saying I am cruel and selfish. So am I the a-hole for doing this? Not the a-hole. He should absolutely be fired over this. Everything about the way you describe this man stinks, him, not your description. To be clear, if he loses his job, that is 100% him that is responsible. Actions have consequences. He will be fired, and you should feel zero guilt. Actions have consequences. Good thinking taking a video BTW. Ableist, misogynist, homophobe. It's like he has a checklist of ways to be bigoted. You can ignore the accusations that you are cruel and selfish. Presumably those people are in favor of smashing the hearing aids of people that need them. Perhaps they also support pushing people out of their wheelchairs. OP should also tell ours that he will pester her now constantly with videos and calls and forward the videos to them. She should not feel bad. He deserved it. He is in a hole. I don't want to know how he treat his wife and children. With misogyny, going by the OP, he might well be somehow found a way to be bigoted against children too. I'm going to guess that look, what you made me do, is a go-to excuse for him. Very much not the a-hole. Yes, the situation with his family sucks, but it's not your fault. Your colleague was actively harassing you and then destroyed your property. He knew what he was doing. He knew what consequences this could have. He's a misogynistic a-hole, and he deserves what he got coming his way. He is the reason his kids might suffer. Not you. Throw a tantrum like a child, get a timeout like one. I wish there was a way HR could get him to reimburse you for the damaged hearing aid. Also, while this may have been the last straw, you can bet there's probably lots of other stuff they had on him. This was simply the most obvious creating a hostile environment example that they could likely use. By the way, the cogents of steel on you to calmly be able to take a video while he's destroying something so critical to you. I want your presence of mind, damn it. It doesn't even matter that it was your hearing aids. If he had scratched another colleague's car or smashed their phone intentionally, it would have the same outcome. Even if at this point you withdrew your complaint, it wouldn't change a thing. If you work in a company, you should be aware that anything you do can affect your job. What he was asking you to do was already unprofessional and would warrant termination already. If I were you, forward everything to HR and keep a copy yourself. And as a side note, if losing his job is enough to make him and his children homeless, then he really should have thought with his head instead of his man pickle before he pursued this entire course of action. Actually, the fact it is necessary equipment for OP to carry out their job makes it far worse than those examples. OP has good grounds for disability discrimination due to this. I'm livid on OP's behalf and freaking proud that OP was able to get evidence of this git destroying necessary equipment. I'm profoundly deaf myself. I wear hearing aids too. I don't always like them and tend to not wear them at home, but they are necessary for me to do my job when I'm in the office, and you can damn well guarantee I will hit the roof if someone messed with them without my permission. I really hope this co-worker has had a fright to reality. He smashed high-cost accessibility equipment over a misogynistic tantrum and is now whining he might be fired, which they would be in the right to do. Instead of harassing OP, he should be asking how he can fix this. But it's all me, whilst poor OP now has additional trouble just trying to do their job. Note, we don't tend to have spares just knocking about either. In the UK, each time they change my aids, I have to return my others as they are NHS property. In other countries you have to pay a small fortune for them, so people can't afford spares. I'm so angry I think I need to take a breather. I was in a deadly car crash 3 years ago that left me in a coma for months. I'm physically okay now as all the broken bones and stuff have healed up. Mentally, well, among other things, I have really bad short-term memory loss. It's like 50 first dates. I can remember everything that happened leading up to the accident, but not what happened afterward. It's really frustrating to deal with. Yes, I'm in therapy before you ask. One of my cousins recently changed her name. Unfortunately for me, she picked a name that is very similar to her old one. This chrysanthemum over Chris. I've tried to remember her name, I really did. But like everything else that happened after my accident, I will forget. She has made it clear she doesn't want to go by a nickname or by Chris, so I try to make an effort to call her Chrysanthemum. Chrysanthemum came over for a barbecue today. And once again, I accidentally called her by her old name. Chrysanthemum started to yell at me and called me a bunch of things I don't want to repeat here. I lost it and yelled at her, reminding her that I can't remember anything because I have literal brain damage from one of the worst traffic accidents in our state's history. The rest of the family sided with me because of the brain damage excuse. Chrysanthemum left, but she's been spamming my voicemail and calling me a shithead for humiliating her like that. Her friends have also been harassing me non-stop. Was I really in a hole for reminding her that I have brain damage? And explaining that that's why I can't remember. I have been trying to make an effort to remember her new name. I just can't remember it due to my brain's inability to create short-term memories. This isn't the only trouble I've run into. I can't remember the names of my relatives' spouses who got married after 2018 or their kids who were born after my accident. I couldn't even recognize my sister after she got a haircut because I remember her as having long blonde hair. Not the a-hole. Of course you would be the a-hole if you were making up the brain damage, but given the circumstances it's pretty shitty to blame you for something you have no control over. I don't see what more you can do. You are trying. Harassing you for having brain damage isn't a good look. Maybe you should remind them of that. Next time my parents have people over, I'm going to see if I can get them to wear name tags. That is a good idea. Just to add, I changed my name for deeply personal and important reasons. I cannot abide being called by my former name. It is a big deal to some people. Since you have a legit reason to struggle with this, it sounds like name tags are a great solution, even if you were joking. I really hope I'm not sounding rude, I'm just genuinely curious. I completely understand not being able to stand hearing your former name, but wouldn't OP's situation be slightly different? It's not like they're purposely calling her old name to be a jerk or hurt her, they genuinely don't know she has a new name. It's probably clued in every time she gets angry and corrects OP, but that knowledge doesn't exist to them at all. I 100% understand being upset, but shouldn't this circumstance warrant some forgiveness? Also, I'm so sorry something happened that affected you that badly, but I hope your new name is able to bring you some much needed peace. It does, thank you. And I actually agree with you, which is why I thought name tags would be a good solution, as long as everyone agrees to, feels comfortable with it. The issue is not that I don't understand what OP is saying about their condition, the issue is being horribly triggered if I am called by my former name, awkward to say the least in a social situation. Not the a-hole. A brain injury is an actual excuse, not an excuse like how people use that word to refer to a bad or fake reason. For real, right? It's not even an excuse, it's a reason. I have chemo brain, which is not remotely the same thing, but even so the short-term memory issue is difficult to work around. And I'm certain OP has it much worse. Not the a-hole. I have a brain injury, have memories, and have a child who came out as trans during the year following my injury. I'm also like 50 first dates. I try diligently, but if I'm tired, overwhelmed, or in a high sensory input situation, like you probably were at that party, I will sometimes slip on pronouns or call him my daughter instead of my son. He knows my struggle with my memory, gracefully accepts my apology, and loves me as I am, never once making me feel small because of my shortcoming. It's rare for people who have never had a brain injury with lasting symptoms to understand the challenges. You are definitely not the a-hole, but if I've learned anything on this journey, it's that some people will never understand, nor try to. Do your best with the name. That's all you can do. I'm sorry you have to walk this terrible traumatic brain injury journey. I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy.